January 21st, 2025. This is a date you are going to want to save to your calendar if you are applying to come to Canada as an international student or as a temporary foreign worker and you have intention of taking your spouse with you. There is going to be a significant update that becomes effective on January 21st, 2025. What am I talking about? Immigration Canada has been changing a lot over the past year, many of which some persons can argue that it's warranted and some persons can say that it's unfair. But yet again, guys, there is more changes. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that's what we're here to do. Not to give bad news, but to update you guys as to the changes that happens in Canadian immigration space. So if you guys like this kind of content, let me know by subscribing to our channel, smash a like on the video, and let your thoughts be known in the comment section. Now, what am I talking about? Now, previously, if you're an international student in Canada, you were able to take your family with you. And by family, I mean your spouse, whether common law spouse or if you're married, and your dependent children. If you were issued a work permit, whether closed or open work permit in Canada, you are also able to take your family with you, spouse and dependent children. A couple of months ago, an announcement was made that entire system went up in smoke. International students now, effective January 21st, 2025, international students who are studying in Canada are only able to take their spouse with them underneath these circumstances only. You must be doing a master's program, which is 16 months or longer. So it simply means if you're doing a program shorter than 16 months, master's program, you won't be eligible. But if you're doing a master's program, 16 months or more, you're eligible to take your spouse with you. If you're doing a doctorate program, it doesn't matter of the length of study, you're able to take your spouse with you. And if you're doing a professional studies, you may be eligible for the same eligibility criteria, which means that you can take your spouse with you. Now, we won't know what these professional studies are going to be until January 21st, 2025. Now, what everyone is speculating is that it's going to be something to do with healthcare, construction, agriculture, education, etc. However, nobody will know for sure until January 21st. Now, what if you are here on a work permit and you want to take your family with you? Of course, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there's a lot of changes even from a temporary foreign worker perspective. Now, you're only able to take your spouse with you underneath these circumstances only. If you are working in a tier 1 or tier 0 position. Now, tier 0 is really a management position and tier 1 is really a position that usually requires a bachelor's degree or more. Now, what I encourage anyone to do is to just go on the IRCC website, put in your NAC, put in the job that you're doing, based on the duties that you're doing, and it will show you which tier you fall into. Sometimes it's not so much the job description, but it's your duties. So you look on the list of duties, you pop it in, and it kind of give you an idea of what tier you fall in. Now, if you're doing a tier 0 or tier 1, then you are eligible to take your spouse with you. Your spouse is eligible to apply for a open work permit. Now, if you're doing a tier 2 or a tier 3, the possibility might still be there for you to take your spouse with you if you're working in what is considered an in-demand occupation, which is assumed to be healthcare, construction, education, agriculture, etc. Now, similarly to the international student pathway, you won't know what these jobs are until after January 21st, 2025. Now, I'm speaking a lot on you being eligible to take your spouse with you because no longer are you able to take your dependent children with you. As an international student or as a temporary foreign worker, it is no longer possible for you to take your dependent children with you. And this is a game changer. This is something that breaks my heart. This is something that no one wants to see. And this is something that I'm so sorry about, but I have to give you guys the update as they are, right? Now, what happens if you are already in Canada on a work permit, or if you're already in Canada on a study permit and your spouse is already here. Now, as per the IRCC website, if you have already gotten a study permit or a work permit based on previous conditions, those previous conditions would still be applicable, which means that if you are here on a study permit and your spouse have an open work permit, then they can still have their open work permit. What happens if their open work permit expires before your study permit? Probably because their passport didn't have enough time in it, etc., etc. They can still submit a request to have those months or years extended to their work permit. Now, what is unclear to me, and if anyone is watching this video and has more information about it, they can let me know, is what happened when that student then graduates and have to apply for a PGWP. That person, I am assuming, would have to be in a tier 1 or tier 0 for their spouse to be able to extend their open work permit. Now, if I'm wrong on that, let me know in the comment section. But that is what my interpretation of the change is going to mean. So if it is that you haven't already submitted a work permit application prior to January 21st, it simply means that anything after January 21st, the rules then go into effect. So to submit a spousal open work permit extension or a fresh application, you have to be employed within a tier 1 or tier 0 occupation class, or in one of the in-demand fields, which will be announced on January 21st. Now, what do you guys think about this? Do you guys think it's fair? Of course not. Oh, immigration, what next? Take it easy on us. Take it easy on us. And I know a lot of persons are going to be impacted by this, and my sympathies goes out to you guys. Now, I made some notes here because I don't want to forget to speak about anything really. Also, I spoke about no longer being eligible to take your children with you on an international study permit or even on a temporary foreign work permit. And we speak about the fact that even the professional studies will be announced after January 21st. But there's something else. Now, in order for you to apply, if you have a work permit and you want to apply for your spouse, meaning that you have a job in tier 1 or tier 0 or in one of the in-demand fields that will be announced, and you're eligible to apply for your spouse to get an open work permit, you have to have at least 16 months remaining on your work permit to be eligible to apply for your spouse. So it simply means that if you have a 1-year work permit, you cannot apply for your spouse to join you, even if you have a tier 1 or tier 0 job. You have to have at least 16 months remaining on your work permit for you to become eligible to have your spouse join you. And again, as per the IRCC website, no longer are you able to have your dependent child or children join you. Let me close my notes. Let us reason a little bit. Guys, when I saw this news, personally, it brought me right back. It brought me right back to my first journey, the start of my journey when I just came to Canada. When I came to Canada, I came as an international student. Back in 2019, my wife was eligible for an open work permit, and we were able to take our dependent daughter at the time, Malika Jade. And listen, guys, I cannot imagine coming to Canada without my family. And I think that these changes are going to further deter a lot of persons from studying in Canada, but also deter a lot of persons from working in Canada, even if it's an in-demand field. Now, I can see things from both sides of the spectrum. As I always say, I try to be balanced in my conversation. I try to be balanced in my reasoning. Immigration has been a challenge over the past couple of years here in Canada. It's been taken advantage of. The labor market has been very saturated. Unemployment is at an all-time high. Housing crisis, cost of living through the roof, poverty rising, all of these things. And a lot of persons attribute these challenges to immigration and population growth. Now, is it right? Is it wrong? Unfair to target immigrants? Maybe, maybe not. But the truth of the matter is there has been a huge influx of immigrants in Canada, especially after COVID, between 2022 to present, which is 2025. So there has to be something there needed to be something put in place to kind of stem the immigration flow, and also to get the quality of immigrants that can make a difference within the Canadian economy in terms of there are saturated fields and there are fields that are grossly understaffed and has huge labor shortages. So tell me now, there has to be a balance, right? However, as a fellow immigrant, I can understand for somebody who wants a better opportunity for them family, this is devastating. Devastating. And I sympathize, right? Anyways, I'm just here to bring the news, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the changes in the comment section. If you're here in Canada, will it affect you? Or if you're thinking of coming to Canada, will this now deter you from coming to Canada? Or will you be looking into other options? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next video.